Welcome to the woods. It's quite a nice day, but the sun's all over the place, so we'll crack on. This is going to be quite a long video. I'm doing this, so hopefully this will be something you can share with other people that may be interested in what we're doing and want to get involved. So I'm going to cover a few subjects. I'm going to cover a bit about me and what I've done, a bit about what I've done since I started a YouTube channel and why, the things that led up to and the thoughts behind the Woodlander Initiative, how that started, what we plan on doing, and where we go forward from here. So quite a lot to pack into a half-hour video. So if you're used to watching TikTok and your brain's turned to mush and you can only concentrate for 30 seconds, go and grab yourself a coffee, sit down, chill out and have a listen. And if you're watching this for the first time, and I hope there's a few of you, subscribe to the channel. You can go back and watch all the videos at your leisure. So a bit about me. About 10 years ago, I bought some woodland, which you can see behind me, and I built a 4-bedroom cabin, which is completely off-grid. The electricity is solar powered. The water system is a rainwater collection system. I built the filtration system and the pumping system. And I live a nice life. I grow some food. I'm not 100% self-sufficient, but we're trying. I've got 150 chickens, a couple of demented turkeys. I've got quail and ducks, so we get quite a lot of eggs. I've also got 7 cats, and I've got 7 dogs. And life is pretty good. It's nice. And I get that it's not for everyone, but it's certainly for me. And I started a couple of years ago a YouTube channel, the one you're watching me on. And I told people about why I'd gone off grid, and you can check that video out. And I told people how I'd gone off grid. And I was contacted by lots and lots of people who wanted to do the same thing or similar. And the reason I was contacted by lots of people was that 2 to 3 years ago we were going through a situation which woke a lot of people up to the fact that their government and the people that ran their government, and probably the people that ran their government, did not have their best interests at heart. A lot of people woke up to the fact that the system they'd lived under for many years was in fact broken beyond repair. And as they looked into things, it got worse. And people were looking for a way out, an alternative. And some of them ended up contacting me and asking for advice on how to go off grid. And I did that, and I'm still doing that. And I've helped a number of people do exactly the same as what I did. And I've also worked with larger groups of people who are interested in doing something as a community. And again, that's possible. And I've been working with groups for 2 years. And certain things have happened, and we've learnt more over those 2 years about what the people in power intend to do. And they haven't been shy or hidden what they want or why they're going to do it. what has become apparent is that this global power system is relentlessly pushing ahead. With things that will ultimately restrict every quarter of your life. Everything. And I'm going to touch on some of these in a minute. So we get 2 years down the road, and I've helped individuals, and I'm working with groups, and we're watching land prices over those 2 years, because some people have bought and some people are looking to buy, and we're recognizing that a lot of land is becoming very expensive, and we're looking at the reasons for that, and we're noticing that large corporations are buying huge swathes, which is restricting your access and your possibility of buying land. And so the Woodlander Initiative was started in order to do 3 things. And the first thing is to be in a position to ensure that our land can be used by us. Secondly, is to buy that land and own it, thus ensuring that those global corporations, government agencies, can't restrict our access to it. The third thing is to help each other, and that especially includes those people who wish to start businesses, become self-employed, to remove themselves from the system. We should be looking at helping ourselves, really. And I get a lot of people asking me, it sounds like a good idea, but why? What's really behind it? And these questions come from people I work with, people I meet during my everyday life, who see what I'm doing and ask questions. So I'm going to answer some of them here. The people in power want to restrict every aspect of your life. It's not an if or a maybe. They definitely want to do it, and they're working on a timetable. Now, they may not get everything done when they exactly want to, but we know what they want and we know when they want to do it, and it is out there if you care to check up. And I'm going to touch on 3 things. So the first one I want to talk about is cars. Private car ownership will, I think, be gone in about a decade. And I need you to have a little think about that. Just that one point. How different will your life be if you didn't have a car? I know that mine personally would be incredibly difficult. My daughter lives 80 miles away. My son lives 100 miles away. I've just come back from a camping trip, which was a 2-hour drive, but a 6-hour train journey. If you don't have personal transport, and that is what they want, there's no infrastructure for electric vehicles. The people that are buying them now will be fine for a short period of time, until it becomes too expensive to even charge them. At the moment it's becoming on par with a petrol or diesel on just cost. The end goal is no personal transport, and the reason they don't want you to have transport is because they want you to stay in one area. And in order to do that, they're already putting in surveillance cameras, and some towns and cities have got road blocks. The infrastructure for these 15-minute cities or 20-minute neighbourhoods, and they'll change the name as they go along, these low traffic areas, is going ahead. And I know that some councils are fighting back. It will still go ahead. We're not in a battle against a government decision. These decisions have been made on a global level. These decisions have been made by people who control governments across the globe. Waving placards outside your town hall may very well raise awareness in your area and let the councillors know that you're none too pleased. But the decision has already been made. Even if there are hiccups caused by belligerent freedom fighters along the way. So they mean to curtail you in a 20-minute area. And they're buying up the land surrounding you at an alarming rate, so that you will have no access to it. No access to the fields, no access to the hills and the meadows, no access to the woodland. It will be private, it will be denied you. So where will you go? If you can get out of your 20-minute neighbourhood, where will you go? And that is one of the main reasons the Woodlander Initiative was set up. I can tell you from personal experience that the woodland I bought is part of a much larger wood, 100 acres on my side. And of that 100 acres, it's broken down into smaller plots that people could afford, and they're all owned privately. And I've spoken with some of the older boys in the local village who understand that it's now private and they can't go there. But this is where they would play as kids. This is where they'd walk their dogs, take their families for a day out. And it's now denied them because it's private. So the Woodlander Initiative isn't about taking these woodlands, these meadows, these hillsides and restricting them for you. They'll be open to all of our members. So we will always have a place to go. So I've spoken about the no cars, your 20-minute neighbourhoods. And now we need to talk briefly about the digital nightmare, digital IDs and digital currencies, both of which are coming. And again, I need to hammer this point home that as much as they may not be welcomed and they may not be wanted, that makes very little difference. This is not a democracy. We're no longer living in a democracy. We weren't asked if we wanted these things. We're being told we're having them. So a digital ID, which will be brought in slowly for one thing that's innocuous and slowly added to, and a digital currency which will be brought in alongside cash and normal transactions until they're phased out. And make no mistake about it, cats just come sailing. Cash is what they really want to get rid of. The ability to make transactions in private between ourselves can no longer be accepted by these people. They want to know everything you buy, where you buy it from, where you got that money from, everything. This does not bode well. They could, and if they could, we should now know that they will, be able to limit what you spend and what you spend it on. So in the end, you'll be told what you can have and when you can have it. And a small trial run to see how people cope with that was done over those lockdown periods where you were told where you can shop and what you can buy and how far you can travel to buy it. So this has already been gameplayed. The data has already been harvested. So now I want you to just have a thought about living in the middle of a 20-minute neighbourhood in a large town or city with no transport, and even when you do leave, there's nowhere for you to go. There's no escape. Your digital money, you can't spend it in the next area because you shouldn't be there. How easily we can be walked into a prison for comfort and convenience, which is how they'll sell this. How convenient to have everything within 20 minutes. But in reality, there won't be much there, apart from the cameras and the roadblocks and the harsh penalties. So we need to do something, and the initiative was set up in order to buy land throughout the whole of this country. Woodland, pasture land, fields, agricultural land, recreational land, all land where we can grow food, where we can keep livestock, where we can go to, where we can camp, where we can meet, where we can talk freely, where we can be a community. And it's taken off in 3 weeks, much faster than I thought possible, which has led to its own situations, should we call them. It's led to issues. But around 500 people have joined. And in 3 weeks we've raised very nearly £60,000. And our target of hitting 1 million in the first 12 months is not only possible, but I think we'll buy our first land this year. We're already talking about regional groups. We've already started meeting people in the southwest, in the southeast. This initiative has given a lot of people hope, a real hope, because things don't look good. And I've touched on the things that have become apparent over the last 2 to 3 years. So the digital currency, the digital IDs, the lack of transport, the 20-minute neighbourhoods. And there's the diversity quotas that go along with this, which demoralise. And we've seen it in the mainstream media about the illegal immigration, the cost of £8 million a day to house floods of people being put up in hotels across the country. We've now got councils building homes for refugees and migrants. And I'm quite a nice guy. I'm up for helping anyone who needs help. But I don't like being taken advantage of. And it does look like that's what's happening to my country. And people do become demoralised. Understandably. When you look at things that have happened, the grooming case scandal in Rotherham and throughout this country, riots, crime rates, stabbings, violence, what's going on in France could quite easily happen here, and we know that. Nobody wants any of this. And I think that there's many of us who understand that all of these problems have been manufactured in order that we accept their answer to them, their solutions. But we can't do that. We can't slowly walk into a digital 20-minute hell. We've got to think of how we can remain free. And the land is just the first part, just the first stepping stone. And there's lots of groups doing the same, and I'm in contact with at least 4. And there's people talking about different things, alternative currencies, alternative societies, distribution networks. How do we get something from the southwest to the border of Scotland? How fast could we do it? Can we distribute food? Can we set up distribution centres? All of these things we've already started. We're already coming together. They're already being discussed. 3 weeks in. The initial idea was to have 1,000 people, 1,000 members, who could put in £1,000. Not necessarily all at once. Some people wanted to do it at £20 a week, and over the course of a year that's your £1,000. As it is, we've had people just stump in straight up, buy 1,000 shares. Other people going more slowly. And that's exactly how it should be. Working together and each of us doing what we can to move forward, to make sure we continue in the right direction, with achievable goals where we buy our land and we use our land for us, where we all have access. And where we really start pushing back against those people that would take our freedom and force us to live how we do not wish to live. I'm going to leave it there. Share this one around. If this is the first time you've heard of me or heard of the Woodlander Initiative, check it out. And I'll speak to you all soon. Have a good one, you lot, and congratulations, we're winning.